Welcome to SunnySpeaks, here again with another review for you, and you. And today I'm here to talk about 28 Years Later, directed by Danny Boyle and starring Alfie Williams, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Jodie Comer, and many more. In the third installment of the Infection Outbreak film franchise, 28 Years Later follows Spike, a young boy who lives on an island close to the mainland of Britain that has been quarantined for almost 3 decades now. Spike and his father, played by Aaron Taylor-Johnson, travel to the mainland on Spike's birthday to become a warrior, only to find more darkness and confusion than they could have imagined. In a year full of some of the stranger film releases I've ever seen, I think 28 Years Later might take the crown on the most strange film experience in 2025. Is that a good thing or bad? First, let's talk about our main character, Spike, played by Alfie Williams. First time seeing this actor on screen, and he killed it, especially when being in a cast of great actors and actresses. He really earns his screen time and is captivating as a main character. Spike is naive to the world he exists in because of the shelter and separation from the infection he's had his whole life. Seeing his naive and youthful nature slowly fade away because of the horrors he's witnessing is a gut punch, but the strength within Spike is truly what makes his character special and worth being the lead of the film. Aaron Taylor-Johnson plays Jamie, Spike's father. Most people thought he would be the main character of this movie, including myself, but sadly he's really only in the first half of this film, which sucks because he is really great in this. Jamie is a father trying to prepare his son for the world out there, even if it might be premature. He is charismatic and engaging, and yet there is a darkness underneath that even Spike notices. There's not much to say about Jamie because of the time his character is provided, but I find him to be super interesting and nuanced. Jodie Comer plays Isla, Spike's mother, and though being a little too loud or a little too quiet, I think she gives a great performance in this film that makes everything feel more heavy than usual. Isla is sick and seems like she's only getting worse, forgetting who people are, how she got to where she is. It's a really tragic character, but I really like that the script and Comer's performance still allow her to be nuanced and have some really strong and positively impactful moments. And I think that Aaron Taylor-Johnson as Jamie and Jodie Comer as Isla do a really great job of acting like parents and really showing the people that Spike comes from. It's interesting, a lot of movies I feel like that's a hard thing to pull off, and yet all of them, including Alfie Williams, I think that they all do a great job of acting like a family and like they are connected. And Spike really does act like both of them in different ways, and I think that's really great acting. The last character I want to talk about is Dr. Kelson, played by Fiennes. Another great performance, though being in the movie for a criminally short amount of time. The lore and ideology that Dr. Kelson brings to this franchise is something we've never seen before in the 28 series. A beautifully written character coupled with a great performance that leaves you comforted and on edge at the same time. And though all the performances from our main actors and side cast is great and immersive, the best part of this movie to me is the amazingly trippy and creative visual language all across the film. Anthony Dodd Mantle is the cinematographer for this film, and I loved the bold swings that were taken with the visuals. The movie feels very folktale and rustic, and then can be dreamlike, almost like you're hallucinating. The use of color in this movie is masterful, from the red shaded foreshadowing shots in the beginning to the juxtaposition of the green and red when the action starts, and having our main characters use bow and arrows and the way their kills are executed was so awesome. Then slowing down to the tranquil blues of the water that surround the island Spike calls home. It's all just so well done and still cohesive while being very wild and out there. I wouldn't say this movie is scary, and at times honestly it can be a little campy, almost grindhouse-esque vibes, especially with the practical effects used in this film. But this movie is intense at times. Some scenes really have you wondering what the hell is about to happen. Sometimes the scenario is expected and sometimes it is out of nowhere. But if you get to this movie wanting a bloody, gory, and scary experience, I don't think you'd be disappointed. 28 Years Later chooses to take the most out there risk story-wise compared to the last two. While some of them being great and inventive choices, pushing the narrative and infection genre forward, other choices can definitely be confusing or off-putting for audiences. I appreciate that this movie has something to say about the real world by using characters that are completely detached from it. And yet, though this movie has a message, it doesn't let that ever get in the way of the narrative and the character journey in front of you. The message is navigated through certain conversations and ideologies that fill out the character's thoughts, making them more three-dimensional. The film isn't perfect though. Nothing is really. Spike being our through line of the full 1 hour and 55-minute runtime of the film works, but I did find other characters fascinating and wanted to see more of the world and who inhabits it. The infected, while being cool, and I liked how they've evolved from the first two movies to now evolving into packs that have their alphas as their leaders, which I think alphas are infected that took steroids before. I think there was a line that said that, but I might be wrong. I wish there was a little more variety in how the infected looked though. They are creepy and have some scary ass mannerisms. I just wish there was more than just runners, crawlers, and the occasional alpha. Though I think the infected in 28 years are scarier than the ones in 28 weeks, I still think the scariest outing for the Rage virus is the 2002 original 28 Days Later. But I think 28 Years has a better visual presentation in my opinion. The worst thing about this movie is the ending, like the last 3 minutes or so. But I don't think it's that bad in hindsight. I watched the movie forgetting or not knowing that there's a sequel already confirmed called The Bone Country coming after this. So the oddly vibrant character that Jack O'Connell plays appears at the end almost like he's from a different film entirely, and then credits, which felt super off to me and felt disappointing. But I will hold real judgment until seeing Bone Country, directed by Nia DaCosta, who directed Candyman and The Marvels. Overall, I would give 28 Years Later a partly sunny rating. When I first left the theater, like I said, the ending really deflated my excitement and it felt too open of an ending. But upon thought and reflection, this movie is firmly in my top 5 of films this year, and it's the most artistic and creative zombie infection outbreak movie I've ever seen, I think. Great performances, great shots, great kills, great emotional storytelling and world building. Just a really great experience with some personal flaws that never keep the boat from floating. This has been my review of 28 Years Later. If you have seen 28 Years Later, let me know what you think in the comments down below, because perspective is key. I'd love to know if you think that this is your favorite out of the 3, or if you like the original, or even 28 Weeks Later, because I think that movie is actually pretty solid. Definitely the worst out of the 3 though, in my opinion. But also, what is your favorite zombie movie? I'm very curious on anybody's thoughts about that. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I'll be back again. Peace.